let us go down to NovaCare and talk to our man, Bo Wulf. Joins us live from training camp.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
look at
that picture.
Look at that,
the
baby.
cloud cover. That looks great. What do you say, brother? Happy camp.
How we doing, guys? Happy first day of the new year. We just talked to Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni for a little bit. The guys are just getting out here ready to stretch before the first practice of the summer.
Oh, this is fantastic. All right. Well, don't keep us waiting. So let's start with Howie. What was Howie's messaging? What was the tenor of the news conference?
By the way, if I get hit in the head with a football, it's Jake Elliott's fault or Braden Mann's fault. So tenor of the press conference, obviously lots of questions about Jalen Hurts to Nick Sirianni, his relationship with Jalen Hurts. He said it's good. He said you can only judge any relationship by your own personal interactions, and by all accounts, he thinks that they have a good relationship. They've accomplished a lot of things together, but he wasn't like overly flowy about it. He wasn't like, this is my best friend. I think he acknowledges that there are some things that they need to work on. He was also asked about like the consistency in the offense that Jalen Hurts would like to have, the 95% thing. He said, that even if plays look the same to you guys, there will be different coaching points for those things. So that's probably where like that 95% thing comes. Cooper DeJean, I don't know if you guys saw the report that, he's going to miss a few weeks, suffered a hamstring injury over the course of the summer. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Nick Sirianni said it's going to be on him to like be very aggressive about taking the mental reps and taking that stuff seriously, but they still have high expectations for him eventually whenever he does come back.
So what was Nick's vibe, right? Like, something tells me he is, he's himself, right? He's pretty comfortable in how he is, and he knows the deal. What was his any interesting nuggets today about himself and where he's at?
Nothing super interesting about like what he's been up to. Zach and I talked about it on the show the other day. What an odd thing it must be for like Sirianni and the Sirianni family to just anytime you turn on sports television, there's like a bottom line, like, is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat, all that stuff. So I think that he's probably relieved to be through the summer of everybody talking about that and actually have some football to coach. This is a guy who will tell you is like a football coach's football coach. He wants to be out here, harping on the fundamentals and all that stuff. He said that this, the first week of camp is going to be sort of an acclimation period. They're going to be aggressive and working hard while they're out here, but they're not going to have the pads on the first day. They're not going to be having an Oklahoma drill tomorrow, but he's excited to get things going. And then one thing that I asked Howie Roseman about is another thing that we've talked about is sort of the tension between the Eagles philosophically for the last decade plus have been all about heavy rotation on the defensive line, right? You want to have as many guys as possible who can play, and you want your best players to be fresh at the end of the season. And that's a little bit different than Vic Fangio's philosophy. He has leaned much heavier on his top guys. Christian Wilkins played the most snaps of any defensive tackle last year for Vic Fangio. And I asked Howie about, like, how do you find common ground there? And he sort of admitted that, like, this is Vic's defense. And so you might see the top players like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis move from 55 to 60% of the snaps to 65 to 70% of the snaps. And that's something that, like, he's interested in seeing how it plays out. He's excited to work with Vic Fangio. Nick then stepped in and said, you don't have a track record like Vic Fangio for 25 years as an elite defensive coordinator if you're not able to adapt to your personnel and stuff like that. He talked up some of the backup defensive tackles, but like over the course of the season, that's something that I'm sort of very interested in following how it plays out, because it is sort of a tension between Fangio and the front office.
See, I love that though. I'm a big believer in, and coming from the school of Spags, having a veteran DC that is in control of it. Like, just let him handle. He's the CEO of the defense, so just let him deal with it. And a guy with that kind of veteran understanding of it, I feel comfortable. That puts me in a good spot.
I agree with that. And like, that's what they brought him here to do, right? Like they brought him here to provide that level of competency as a defensive coordinator, which they did not have last season. So I think they are like putting this in Vic's hands. They have trusted him for a long. They've been trying to get him for a long time. I think they're happy to let him sort of run the show. And then a couple things, just depth chart wise, because a couple positions of battles to expect. Nick Sirianni said Tyler Steen's going to be the right guard today. We'll see how it plays out. They don't have to give out a depth chart yet, so it wasn't exactly the most vociferous defense of Tyler Steen is our guy, but he's going to get the first crack. And then at linebacker, Zach asked a good question about Nakobe Dean, because at the end of season press conference, Howie Roseman, was very talking up Nakobe Dean, gassing him up like, this is our guy. We believe in the person and the player. He's going to lead that group. And it sounds like it's going to be a competition there. Like, Howie Roseman said, we still believe in Nakobe Dean, but that is a position where they are very much, somebody's going to have to win it. And it's going to be Devin White on one spot, and then it's going to be either Nakobe Dean or Zach Bond, I presume. Maybe eventually Jeremiah Trotter Jr. could compete for that, but they are not giving anything to Nakobe Dean there. So those are the two depth chart updates they gave.
Yeah, I'm interested in Devin White and what he's got left.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good in the spring, but without pads on, Devin White better look good. Like, he's a big, fast guy. We'll see what happens when they get the pads on, because he's definitely coming off the worst year of his career.
Hey, Bo, really the most important question for me today, I did not get a chance to see any of the press conference. What was Nick wearing shirt-wise? With a Michkov shirt, a Castellanos shirt, or just a regular traditional Bird shirt?
He was wearing a PHLY shirt.
Oh, fantastic.
No, he was just wearing an Eagles shirt.
Eagles?
Regular, yeah, he kept it low-key. He didn't want to make any noise.
Hey, do you think is Vic someone that Howie can lean on and pressure him to get Nakobe Dean playing time, or you think Fangio is just a guy who'll be like, get out of here?
Yeah, I think that's a different dynamic here than they have had in the past, because I think if it was last year and Howie had said to Sean Desai, like, hey, listen, we drafted Nakobe Dean in the third round. We need him on the field. Like, let's get him on the field. I think Sean Desai would have done that. Like, Howie is the one in power. I don't think that's going to work with Vic Fangio. I think Vic Fangio is going to put on the field who he wants on the field. And I'm curious to see how that plays out, because there are a lot of spots on the defense where, you would think that an old school defensive coordinator would want the reliable veteran to start with, right? So at cornerback, maybe that would mean Isaiah Rodgers would be ahead opposite Darius Slay. But the front office is going to be pulling for the young guys. They want to see the young guys play. And so I don't know how that's going to play out with Vic. A guy like Cooper DeJean, Vic Fangio reportedly loved in the pre-draft process, so maybe that's a little bit different. But Howie and Nick sort of disagreed about this at the Combine, about the importance of letting the young guys play eventually. On defense especially, I'm very curious to see how that plays out with Vic.
Was there some Saquon excitement?
You know what? There were not a lot of questions about Saquon. I did ask Howie about the Giants Hard Knocks. Has he been watching it? Because knowing Howie, knowing how much he cares about what's going on in the league, I imagine that it's like his favorite television show he's ever seen. Getting to watch the Giants front office sort of flounder and like not know what they're doing. But he did not want to give that credence. He's like, oh, the Giants have a Hard Knocks. I didn't know about that. So, but I trust me, he's loving it.
That's fantastic. All right, so 2:00 every day, you and Zach, all right, the all PHLY Eagles show, you'll be on every day. You and Zach will be checking in the morning, and at 2:00, the big show, you're on top of this thing, man. I love it, Bo.
This is it. This is our Super Bowl, man. Camp. This is the one time when we can be somewhere seeing ball that the fans don't get to see. So this is absolutely our favorite time of the year.
Yeah, it's fun, because what it is it's a way to look toward the season. It's the excitement. We love this stuff, and it means
everything is possible right now, right?
Yeah, it's true. Great stuff, brother. I love it. I'm looking out there. I go, I wish I was standing next to you.
Give me the full. Yeah, there we go.
Look at that. Football, baby. Football.
Here we go.
I love it. 2:00.
All right.
Make sure you're
guys.
watching Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, right here. Thanks,
baby.
brother.
Y'all silly like the mayor.